Hey everybody, watch this review here with a look at the Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Prince Dastan with Aksh. That's the horse! I wasn't originally planning on picking this set up, but it went on clearance at Target for $3.25, which ironically is less than the normal 4-inch figures at this point. So I figured, what the heck. Now you'll notice that the figure it comes with is very close to the 4-inch one over here, except for it's kind of got the head sculpt from the warrior mode, and instead of having a plastic jacket, it will have a cloth jacket. Other than that, basically the same figure if you don't want the horse, but, Right off the bat, I'm really not a fan of this cloth cape. I imagine they used it just so we can get more dynamic poses while riding the horse, but honestly it looks kind of cheap, and it's got this weird texture on the inside. Outside's a different, cheaper looking texture. And then it's just like too symmetrical for, a cape. It doesn't have any detail. Also not a huge fan of this figure because the leg broke practically out of box. I went to move it, I'm not sure if the paint was over it or, plastic was a little weakened or something, but snapped right off. He does come with two accessories. The Dagger of Time, with powers not activated, as well as a scimitar. Because the warrior version didn't come with a Dagger of Time, this is kind of useful. Otherwise, let me just quickly pull out the other version. You'll notice this is the same head sculpt as the warrior, and then as mentioned, body type's basically the same as the other 4-inch Prince Dastan, except for no plastic vest. I'll discuss the articulation for this and see what else I can break after we take a look at the horse. Now, Aksh here, looks kind of decent. He's sort of horse-ish, but one thing I don't like is the amount of articulation here at the legs. It doesn't look like you can really do much with it. I mean, it's kind of cheapy, but, we have the saddle, which has a fair amount of detail. Okay use of color. Then, articulation-wise, we have a head that's kind of ball-jointed. We'll move up, down a little bit. Then it'll move to the sides. I mean, it's a pretty good range of motion. That's pretty cool and all. You'll notice that he has a harness here, so you can actually have the character holding this. It's kind of a rubber band, so it will probably snap. Articulation-wise, though, it's no articulation here on the torso, but we have a point over here, which allows the leg to move out or in, and then we have a point at each hoof. So it really can't do much. I can't imagine it even really getting into many dynamic poses, and honestly, it just looks kind of hokey doing that. I wish they had put multiple joints in, like put a second joint in here, or maybe another joint further up on the hip. Possibly even a ball joint somewhere, so we'd get a pretty good range of motion, get more poses. Tail doesn't seem to actually be articulated. I think it's just glued in. It's a soft rubbery plastic, and if you mess with it, it will probably fall off. Also, he's got like these little stirrups here for the character's feet to go into, but honestly, given the difficulty you'll probably have placing mounting the figure onto the horse, I don't think you'll probably want to use that. As for Prince Dastan, he has the same amount of articulation, presumably, as the warrior Dastan I reviewed has, which basically is a point here at the wrist. Let me start on the side without the dagger in it. The dagger is removable, but I don't feel like taking it out, putting it back in. We have rotation at the wrist. We have the ball-jointed elbow here, or ball and socket, or whatever you might want to call it. Good range of motion. Ball-jointed shoulder. Usual stuff. I mean, it's the kind of line one here where you have to mess around with it a little bit. As you can see, it's a ball joint here at the leg. It's a physical ball. Unfortunately, the unit broke higher than that for that, so... I mean, this is the one cool thing about those really crappy straight-up ball joints. I mean, when something pops out, it's easier to replace it. Whereas when something breaks with one of these ones, it doesn't replace so easy, but we have a kind of ball-jointed / ball and socket here for the knee, and then another one down here at the ankle. There is no side-to-side pivot. Now let's quickly attempt to get him onto the horse. which is kind of what I was trying to do when that first leg fell off. Yeah, as you can see, he does not ride the horse very comfortably. I mean, it just doesn't seem like he can get the character really around it. I mean, I blame it more on the... I guess it's equally to blame on the specs of the figure as the specs of the horse, but there's kind of a difference or distance between this and the saddle. I mean, you get him kind of close, and it looks like he's kind of riding it, but if you look really close, he's upraised a little bit. I don't know, I guess like if he's kind of running and stuff, he might be bouncing up and down the saddle, but otherwise, it's kind of lame. I'm really not terribly impressed with the set, mostly for the horse itself, but, you know, for $3, you really can't beat that. You know, the horse, I mean, it's kind of decent. It's just I wish they would have done more articulation, just so you can get it doing a lot more, but, you know, can't really complain too much. I imagine I might even buy, like, more of these horses and then just try to customize them for something, but I don't know yet. Until next time, folks.